hate you.
We don't hate you. There's no need for hate now. Or love.
I love you, Matthew.
There are people that will fight you, David.
They'll stop you.
In an hour. You won't want them to. Don't be trapped by old concepts. Matthew. You're evolving into a new life form. Come and watch. We came here from a dying world. We drift through the universe from planet to planet, pushed on by the solar winds. We adapt, and we survive.
Hello, folks. Welcome to another Cinebeef podcast. I am one of your hosts, Gary Hill. With you tonight is Iris.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about y'all?
Doing. You know, living in I guess sort of springtime now. So there's that. To talk
Springtime
about
with snow.
Springtime with snow. You know what? As a Midwesterner, I'm never surprised by anything. But yeah, it is what it is. With you tonight, fellow Midwesterner, and she might be a little tipsy, so make it real funny tonight, y'all. Check it out. Suzanne's here. How you doing?
Hi. I'm good. We had
Yeah.
pre-birthday drinks.
Nice. If you can hear a distance in the background, that might be Darla borking at the window for no reason, so she decided to stay in the room, so that might be a third co-host tonight for the show. Coming at you, Darla on the microphone possibly. But yeah, we're here tonight. Late night for us. Not really late, but I'll ask Iris, what you been watching lately, girl?
You know, I have gotten started on this series on Netflix, In the Dark. And Lynn and I started at 7 o'clock yesterday. And it was 1 o'clock when we ended up going to bed. And we're like, but no. And Lynn's like, it's midnight. You need to go to bed. But I could get up at 9. So yeah, and then I watched the originals for what we're going to be discussing today also, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I've just been watching stupid TV because I got Discovery Plus.
Oh yeah.
And I've been
Black hole of
watching, oh my God, I've been watching the fuck out of Dead Files because I just, you know, I put that in, I put it on in the background while I'm working, and it's just like noise while I'm working, you know, it's kind of weird, but that's pretty much about it.
Cool. Suzanne?
Oh God, I've been kind of found this show on the History Channel called Assembly Required with Tim Allen and Richard Karn.
Oh yeah? Is it like a reality show or like a sitcom?
Oh yeah,
thing?
it is. They get a box of stuff and then they have to modify it. It's interesting. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but it's fun enough for what it is. And
Sure.
I did go and watch the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers as well. Oh my God, what else? I'm pretty much almost through with the entire run of the series Coach. Because apparently I like my ruggedly handsome Craig T. Nelson.
Well, there you go.
I'm taking a break from cop shows because I've been watching them for 9 months and it's time for a break. And I still have to finish up the Cecil Hotel. I was watching this on Discovery Plus. Did you watch any of the Holzer Files?
Not yet.
Okay, I watched a few. I will reserve judgment until I can hear your comments on that as well.
Oh, okay. I'll have to start on them.
Some of it, I guess if I know you probably read a bunch of the books that he wrote in the 70s and the 80s.
Hmm.
Okay, so we'll have to go back, review, and discuss at a later date.
Right on, right on.
And that's pretty much. Oh, Pat and I did go and did Eddie Murphy Day. We watched Coming to America. We watched Coming to
Nice.
America too, Trading Places, and Harlem Nights. So we got the best of all worlds there. And honestly, a lot of people are saying terrible things about Coming to America too. You know what? It is what it is.
I've heard like two people say bad things about it. Everybody else is, not like. I know people who say they like it better than the original one.
It is what it is. If you like, it's funny. It's just enjoy it for what it is. Apparently everything has got to have some kind of social context now. Fuck that.
It's a little bit, I guess.
Watch a movie and enjoy it. We'll leave it there.
One thing I can recommend, and go listen to Mark Maron's interview with Eddie Murphy. It's pretty good. He talks about it a little bit, but he talks about a lot of stuff. It's a real candid interview, so it's a lot of fun to listen to. Eddie Murphy related. And Harlem Nights is a film I'd like to cover one day, because it's not a film that I enjoy a whole lot, but everybody's in it, so you kind of have to enjoy it. I mean, the cast he assembled for that film is pretty impressive, and you have to like it for that reason. Della Reese, man, come on,
Oh, I know that I'm not going to go start doing that line.
Oh, so good. It's so good.
I mean, you had the best comedy minds of 40 years, possibly 50 in that movie. And it's not a flat out comedy. It tells a good story.
Oh yeah, for sure. Anything else, Suzanne?
Oh no, that's it.
Well, I've watched a lot of How I Met Your Mother lately because I never really finished the series. So I've been rewatching on Amazon Prime. I like the show. I appreciate a lot of the stuff it does. I can get genuine laughs out of it. I can see why Neil Patrick Harris became a star again because he's a star of that show. I can tell you right now. I enjoy him, and so there's that. I have been watching Superman and Lois on the CW. Didn't think I'd be into it too much because of his involvement with the Supergirl TV show, which I dislike very much. But I really dig it, and I had asked some questions to some people to say, hey, why, how and why could they have kids? But somebody told me that they have kids a certain way, and you guys can look at it yourself. It's got something to do with them making love in the Boom Boom Room and the lost city of Kandor. If I have to explain it to you, that's the city that was saved from Krypton when it exploded. Okay, but yeah, so that's the thing in the Superman lore. Besides that, I watched some random stuff. I watched, since our mutual friend made a Dolph Lundgren folder on his account. I watched a couple bad Dolph Lundgren films and realized how many bad ones there are. I watched one called Detention that was basically he was once a mercenary but now a history teacher, and for some reason drug dealers take over a school that has like 6 kids in it that are there on detention. So it's kind of like I don't even know how to explain it, like a terrorist plot type movie, but they're looking for drugs that police seized, like mixed with The Breakfast Club. So it's one of those. It's not badly shot because it's made by the same guy who made like Iron Eagle and stuff like that. But it is fun and shot well. Dolph's doing his thing. It's the whole spiel about you're not trapped in. I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me because he has certain skills, and the kids are doing stuff, but the villains are lame, and that's the biggest problem I have with the movie. And I know I'm going nuts here on probably like a direct-to-DVD Dolph Lundgren film, but I'm going to talk about another one right now. because I had to sit through Shark Lake because I chose to, and I heard that Dolph Lundgren was in a shark film, so I had to watch it. And Shark Lake is basically he plays like an animal smuggler who gets busted by the police, but before he does that, he lets a pregnant bull shark into the lake, and it has his babies, but he owed this shark to the mob or something. So he gets out of the prison, and the mob's after him for some reason, but at the same time, you're watching this Dolph Lundgren Jaws ripoff that he's not in very much. He's like the Quint, and then you got like the Hooper character, and I'm gonna call Lady Roy Scheider because it's a lady cop this time instead of male cop, but they do the thing where they put little things in there. They have the shark cam just like in Jaws. She doesn't say we're gonna need a bigger boat. She says we're gonna need a boat, and then the next scene she says these boats are too small. We're gonna need a bigger one. It's like I see what you did there. Okay, it's just not very good.
That's stupid.
Man, it's real dumb. I've watched a lot of these dumb shark films, but let me tell you, the biggest crime you can do in these shark films is for it to be dull. And that's all this movie was dull. It just dragged on and on and on. You want to see Dolph Lundgren punch a shark, but it wasn't going to happen. No, it broke that rule. It didn't make it fun. It just made it like, here's this story about a guy who just seems like a normal guy who just likes to collect illegal animals, but has this little kid. It's 5 years later. Now she's 8 years old. He wants to have a relationship with his kid. And who gives a flying fuck about that in a shark film, okay?
No one.
This should be like a minor thing, but you're watching Shark Lake from 2012, which I don't recommend at all, because it's just not good. But you know what? With some stare in the face, ooh, look at this Dolph Lundgren folder. Let's see what he's done. He doesn't do as bad as like a Steven Seagal, who might have like 10 good films out of the 50. Well, 10 watchable films out of the 50. Like 5 good ones.
And only because of the women.
But because, yeah. He did have old pancakes in one of those movies, didn't he? I forget which one, but good old Pam Grier in one of those movies. Natasha Henstridge is in another one, I believe.
Well, definitely
Kelly LeBrock.
Yeah, Kelly LeBrock when she was I don't know what happened to her. I don't want to call somebody unattractive, but she had some surgery that made her look like I don't even know, man. It's scary.
She did not have a good surgeon.
She did not have a good surgeon, and that makes me sad because she was once beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah, besides that, just a lot of random stuff that I forget what I watch most of the time, but it's there. I should write these things down, I guess. But tonight we are here to talk about 2 films. They're 2 remakes, but they have like a like theme to them in a way because they're both about people's bodies being taken over or replaced. Well, in one case, and one in the other. We're gonna do Tobe Hooper's Invaders from Mars from 1986, and Phillip Kaufman's Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. I think both true blue classics. I enjoy both these things. We'll go in. Did we do these in order? Because one is better than the other one. I don't know. Let's
go by year, huh?
Let's go by year because yeah. Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. You'll hear about that after the trailer.
Sleep. Terror grows.
Matthew!
Like the others.
Elizabeth, wake up! Get you when you sleep. Sit up!
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
It's got no detail, no character. It's unformed.
All of a sudden, they're growing like parasites. Is it contagious? People are being duplicated.
How do you know my name? I didn't tell you my name.
Can't find anything in here that looks like a body.
My side's nosebleed.
It looked right at me.
You're looking at it as if it was human. It was not human.
Now, the classic fear begins to grow.
We're being cornered.
in a modern masterpiece of science fiction.
They're barricading the street.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Get down!
Starring Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. This gets a PG rating, and it's got full bush in it, y'all. That's all I'm saying about this movie. I don't know how that happened, but I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah, if you know the story of this one, it's a remake of the 1950-something version of it. When space seeds drift to Earth from space, mysterious pods begin to grow and invade San Francisco, California, where they replicate the residents into emotionless automatons, one body at a time. This is an all-star cast. Donald Sutherland. It is Afro to Glory. Brooke Adams. You know, it was wonderful. I love that Donald Sutherland hair back in the day. Young Jeff Goldblum. Barack Cartwright competing with Donald Sutherland on the ugly crying in this movie, because let me tell you, it's amazing. Leonard Nimoy, of course. Art Hindle shows up. Kevin McCarthy shows up, which we'll talk about that because it makes me sad. Just one line in the movie just ruins that this is canon, and it makes me very, very sad. Written by Phillip Kaufman. And the dog is making noise now, so listen to that, y'all. But we'll get to this first, and I'll kick it to Suzanne first and ask her what she thinks of this one. She loves remakes. I gotta hear about this one, you know.
No, these remakes came out back in the day when they were updating movies from the 40s and the 50s, movies that could seriously use a good update. Now it's like, okay, it's 5 years old. Fuck it, let's remake it. That's why I hate remakes. This one, funny story, this is one of the few movies that my mother was very dead set against me ever watching, because she started watching it and it really upset her. So finally I set my alarm one morning for 5 o'clock because it was the only time it was on in the month. Remember back in the day when Cinemax used to do the summer of 2000 movies, and that was the first place I saw Suspiria, but they'd only run these movies once. So even with a DVR, oh my God, DVR, yeah. Even with a VCR or VCR Plus, it was still a pain in the ass to record stuff. So yeah, you set your alarm if you wanted to watch something. So I woke up to watch this one for the first time at 20 years old. My mom came out, and I was maybe 30 minutes into the movie, and she turned green. So finally, she said it was just the pods and the way that they were mimicking the humans. It's the thing that really upset her. And the tendrils. Apparently, there was something about the tendrils that fucked my mom up. So I was, at least now I know what it was that actually truly pissed her off or upset her. But no, this, I still like the original, but the original, you have to admit, was campy as all hell. This was actually a very scary movie. The way just people acting like people, but not being people. And they do several little things to try to lighten the tone up a little bit. My favorite scene is I was making dinner last week and there were capers in the meal. So I held one up with a pair of tongs. I'm like, it's a caper. So a few of you will understand that joke. But no, this movie is genuinely terrifying. Right now, it still packs the punch. They completely shit all over it with the Daniel Craig, Nicole Kidman movie, which I actually sat through 20 minutes of it before I almost snapped my remote in half, which would have been really bad.
It's all right till you get to the end.
It is not all right by any stretch of the imagination.
It's not as good as the other ones, but it's all right for me until you get to the third act till you realize, hey, guess what? This is just a disease and it's curable. So don't watch that one because it's fucking stupid.
Oh no! Avoid the Nicole Kidman version because it is just bloody terrible. It was Abel Ferrara that did Body Snatchers, right?
Yeah, and I'll defend that one because I love that one.
I actually caught that movie before I knew what it was, and I actually kind of liked it until I found out what it was, and then
it's my second
about it.
It's my second favorite one. I'll tell you why. Okay. In this one, they kind of assume you saw that original one, so there's a lot of elements to the original one in there. In Body Snatchers from like '93, I think it is, they don't play games. It's kind of like the new Spider-Man, where they don't explain to you that Uncle Ben got shot and you don't need to see Bruce Wayne's parents die again. They're fully aware that when you went to watch Body Snatchers, that you've seen other Body Snatchers movies in the past, so they don't waste your time because it gets going within like 20 minutes. Like ramps up that suspense that fast. So I got to give it to Abel Ferrara on that one.
Like I didn't know what it was. I was like, wow, this reminds me of Body Snatchers. And that I actually had to go way back in the day of having to dig out the guide and figure out what the fuck am I watching? It's Body Snatchers? Son of a bitch!
Body Snatchers. I call it Body Snatchers.
No, it is Body Snatchers. I didn't always hate remakes. I hate what they've become. This one, like I said, I did watch the original a few days before I watched 78 again. And I just really like what Phillip Kaufman did with this movie. He truly made it a very scary experience. I mean, trying to band together with your friends, figuring out who's who, what you're doing. And I've always just been a big, big fan of this movie. And I have to admit, watching it, I'm absolutely shocked it's a PG movie because, oh my God, you've got boobs and tendrils. God knows you can't allow that to happen now. I've always, like I said, it's a great movie. It's scary. It's not all that hard it's not all that far off from, the world of possibilities.
Well, in the one scene with the tendrils, she's replicating, I think, Brooke Adams, you don't see nipples, so there's that. No nips. So
yeah, I mean it's a blank canvas. But like I said, this movie is, since I was able to watch it to my mother's unhappiness at 20, this is why I like to see some of the, like I said, the movies from the 40s and 50s get a bit of an update. You don't need to redo A Nightmare on Elm Street. It was done perfectly the first time. Everything you do afterward just makes you look like an idiot.
Well, to be fair, in that one and the Thing prequel, there was heavy studio interference from what they actually wanted to do. So I would love to see the version of the film that they wanted to do.
No, John Carpenter nailed the Thing perfectly because
it was a prequel though. If you watch it's a prequel though. So that's not a sequel. I mean, not a remake though.
Oh no, I actually have someone say, "Well, I can make Prometheus your favorite movie." I'm like, no, you can't.
You know what? I'll give Prometheus one thing. It's a beautiful film to watch, but it's just not a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's not a good movie.
Gorgeous.
Oh, like I said, I do appreciate this movie. I love it. I'm not gonna go off on I already had my remake rant, which was a minor rant. I do love this movie. There's Donald Sutherland. You've got an amazing cast of characters. Jeff Goldblum is, he has his moments in this movie, but I sometimes there are certain scenes I feel like he was underutilized. But I know it wasn't a vehicle for him. It was more for Donald Sutherland. And Brooke Adams was one of those actresses who just was kind of faded in and out of the spotlight and then up and vanished. But this is just, you've got great characters. You've got an amazing script. And Leonard Nimoy is so good as the doctor who is completely in on the whole fucking thing. And one of my favorite genre actors, I've always loved Art Hindle. Super nice guy, too. I met him at a con, actually, no, it was at Music Box Massacre. But I just really appreciate the way that this movie was put together. I appreciate the story. I think they did it justice. I know you're bummed about Kevin McCarthy. I was just happy to see him in it. It was like the first time I watched the movie, I was like, oh my God, he was in the original.
Oh, no, it was like a real throwaway thing. Like when they're at no, that's not saying it's a throwaway thing. When he shows up though, you're really excited because you assume this madman has been running the streets for the past 20 years and he's still alive. But when you get to the part, I think when they're shipping the pods and they have the outside of the loudspeaker, when they say the word Santa Mira, which was the original town in the original 50s one, you get so sad that it's not canon. That this madman has not been running the streets for the past 20 years, But I get so sad when I hear that. I was like, oh man, that blows. It's just a cameo.
I'm sure when it comes back around, I will have a few more words to say, but I'm just going to leave it there for right now.
Oh, good. Iris.
Okay, for me, this movie is the perfection sci-fi wise, especially invasion or something coming from outer space coming to get us. I think this is perfection. Like Suzanne was saying, the cast is amazing. And what I like about this is that you actually get invested in these characters, whether it's Belichick or Nancy. And Nancy's character, Veronica Cartwright, her character, I think, is probably one of the most amazing ones because she does not appear very often. And at some point, you're like, she's lost. And then all of a sudden, she is the badass who has survived everyone. So, I love Nancy Belichick's that character there. And of course, you got Donald Sutherland's character. You completely invested in him. And a little bit of Elizabeth, Driscoll or Brooke Adams. Like you guys were saying, she faded in and out, then just disappeared. She wasn't much of somebody that you were like, oh, wow, look who's on the screen. But the character itself was very believable. And I really, really enjoyed just watching the dynamics between her and Donald Sutherland because you can see that chemistry, whether, you were thinking they were going to get together or not. As for McCarthy, me personally, I love that scene. To me, that is the perfect scene because whether I hear Santa Mira when they're, moving pods all over the place, when I see him and he gets hit by the car because, poor guy has been running for all these years.
I was hoping so hard that I was going to be a thing, but yeah, it's a real minor bitch. It really is,
It is. Well, I get it, but it's such a beautiful nod to the movie itself, and then to have the director be, Don Siegel is the cab driver.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty awesome too. We did see BB and VC did this like a couple of episodes ago, and I don't know what more to say about this movie. This movie is just perfection. I love it. It slows down a little bit for some peeps, but it's a sci-fi movie. You have to build up that tension. You have to build up the characters. So when the huge reveal comes, you're like, whoa, I knew it. Or like, oh my God, I never suspected that, And then it has to continue on. It has to keep you interested. And this movie does that. It keeps you interested the whole 2 fucking hours. So, for me, like I said, I love this movie. I don't think I could find a better sci-fi film than this one.
And for me, everything I said about the characters is true. I mean, I have a problem with people who say that the Zack Snyder Dawn of the Dead is better than the original one, because I think they're wrong. Because you got like 20 people in that movie, whereas you had four people in Dawn of the Dead, which you took time to invest in those characters. I can give a shit if half those characters in that new one live or die, because they're just kind of. But you're with these characters the whole time in this one, and their arrogance is there. Donald Sutherland plays he plays like a health inspector, and he's very arrogant, and you don't think you'd align with this douchebag character, and this woman, this Brooke Adams, who is in a kind of a weird relationship with her husband, and this is what makes this horror people, is that when she wakes up, after bringing home this plant, which is a brilliant delivery, and then anything is spores that come from space that attach themselves to other organisms as like these little hiding as these little flowers that you would never notice, and that's how they got there. Just like out of sight, out of mind. Go on with your day. All of a sudden, you wake up and you're somebody else. Well, her husband woke up and he was somebody else, and she recognized it right away because he had no desire to do anything but supposedly go be a businessman, but he's really working for the aliens. And the lot of brilliant parts like that. The part of the dry cleaners, where the guy says that's not my wife, and you imagine waking up as with your loved one and they're acting different. You'd be freaking the fuck out, And so you can't tell me that the horror element isn't in this sci-fi movie, because there's some genuine scenes of terror, and I think that it's the little stuff like that scares me the most, Yeah, Donald Sutherland is full sexy regal. Heather Powell's listening. She loves this Donald Sutherland from this era. You need to watch Clute, babe. Go check him out in that movie. Or if you haven't, you get to see his bare ass in Animal House if you want to look at that. It's kind of hanging out there. This movie though, I love the monologues in the movie. Everybody's very intelligent. Like nobody's an idiot. Like you mentioned, Veronica Cartwright. The reason why she survived is because she figured them out. She figured that if you show no emotion, you could walk among them, and that's something. And again, they're competing for ugly crying in this movie. And I'll give you an example. The ending of the movie, which if anybody who's seen any Terror in the Aisles or a clip show, one of those compilation clip shows like 20 Scariest Movie Moments, has seen the end of this movie. The end of this movie is they're separated. Donald Sutherland is on the run from the pot people, but he clearly has been caught, but she doesn't know that. But they choose to meet somewhere, and when they meet, because the brilliant thing this does that they don't explain in the 50s version is that they say that when they become the pod person, when they copy the person, they take they basically shrivel up into nothing. They take their memories with them. So he remembered that he was supposed to meet her someplace at a certain place at a certain time. And when she sees him and that mouth opens and, the scream comes out at the point, and she's ugly crying like the Veronica Cartwright that we love. Yeah, really fucking emotional. Just like the scene where Brooke Adams goes. I mean, there's a scene where Brooke Adams goes and he's holding her body. And it reminds you of that scene in Don't Look Now, which is a film I don't particularly enjoy. People love it. But there's the scene, the opening of that film, where it begins with his daughter dying in a lake, drowning in a lake, and him holding her lifeless body and the tears that come down. It resembled that. So they're competing for ugly crying in this movie. Donald Sutherland and Veronica Cartwright. So she has that going for an alien as well. By the way, R.I.P. Yaphet Kotto. You were a spectacular man in many things. But yeah, the suspense is there. The horror is there. The weird little nuances are there. I mean, it's very new agey. And I didn't realize this, Suzanne, you kind of blew my mind here, that Leonard Nimoy, could have possibly have been an alien the whole time. And when he's talking to the people at the party, calming them down, and I wasn't thinking about it until you said it. I was like, Yeah, he could have been, because he's really trying to make them change the way they think. Like, yeah, oh, it's the real, oh, it's nothing, dear. Just go do your housework kind of thing. You know, it's like there's nothing going on here. You know, just kind of just really shining it on. And the whole idea. I mean, I work nights, and some people are insomniacs. You know, it's really hard to go to sleep sometimes. But in this film, you're fighting against sleep. Where if you go to sleep, these little flowers that have been implemented from space, they're all over the place, and could change you into another you, you know, which is a better you or something. Because there's a monologue in the film to where they basically say that, you know, they've been searching for a long time, and that they're going to be like the superior race, because essentially they're going to make the world better, I guess, because the humans are fucking it up. So they're not entirely incorrect in their motives, but they're all together saying, hey, you're not going to have a life anymore. We're taking over. And I think the icing on the cake of this movie, though, is the end credits, because after you see, you know, the big ending that everybody knows, there's no music. It's just silence in the credits, and you just watch it, because you know what? It's totally emotionless. There's nothing going on. The aliens have won, so why would there be music or anything in these end credits? It's just silence. And I don't know any other film that would have done that. And I think it's a brilliant move on the director just to say, you know what? No music in the credits. The aliens have won, and I think it's brilliant. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, I think it surpasses the original in many ways, because if you watch the original and you know the history of the original, it's basically they couldn't make a film about McCarthyism, so they made a sci-fi film that was aping McCarthyism by saying, hey, you know what? Watch your neighbors, because they might be something else. And that's what they were doing with the original 50s one. It's like a political film, but it's not a political film. So think about that next time you watch it if you don't know the history of it. And but this one's a lot of fun, and a lot of young faces that you know. Jeff Goldblum, probably the second thing he's ever done. I think he did. Was he in the first Death Wish, Suzanne?
Oh God.
Yeah, he was in the first Death Wish. It was Larry Fishburne in the second Death Wish. Yeah, that's the way it was, I believe. Because he wore the Jughead crown hat as they were raping Mr. Kersey's wife and daughter in that movie. You know, I say that with glee. I'm not saying with glee though, but he's wearing a Jughead crown hat, and that just makes me smile. Although he's a rapist in that movie, he's just get real tight on that picture of wearing the Jughead crown hat, and then forget about the rape for about 2 seconds. You're like, yeah, he's a monster in that movie. But you know, I digress. This is a great movie, as is Death Wish. But we're not talking about Death Wish. But if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Go check out this one, original one, and Body Snatchers. Don't watch The Invasion though, because it's fucking terrible. That's about it for me. Iris, anything else you want to say about it? What do you give it 1 to 10?
I'm gonna give this a 10, and I kind of like what you said about having a horror element, and I think every sci-fi movie has to have just that little bit of that horror element, because you know sci-fi usually deals with the unknown, and anything that is unknown, especially to us humans, especially now in society, it scares us. It does have that horror element. So good point there. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to give this a 10.
Sweet deal. Suzanne.
And there's one other point that I meant to bring up, that, okay, at the very beginning, when she finds that flower, and she's obviously some kind of chemist, organic chemist, because she's working, basically testing things for the health department. And she's talking to her husband, and it's like it's a weed. It's harmful. It's kind of this origin and this origin. And she's pretty much laying out the story without actually laying the story out, if you know what I mean. But I'm very hard on science fiction movies because, I know lots of people love my husband especially, spaceships and laser beams. For sci-fi, for me, I need something deeper. My favorite science fiction movies are kind of the slow burns, the ones that, I'll put Logan's Run in here. I always love Logan's Run, Silent Running.
I was gonna say, you sound like a girl who loves silent running. I'm not a big fan of it though. It just
Well, I mean, it's just one of those because it's actually more science-driven science fiction as opposed to spaceships and laser beams, which I find, like I said, God help me, spaceships and laser beams just get incredibly boring very fast for me.
You know what's good? Have you watched The Martian yet with Matt Damon?
Oh God, I really didn't like that movie.
I thought I was gonna hate it, but I really dug it.
I didn't care for it, but this one, I love this movie. And you're absolutely right about the original because they couldn't actually go against Joseph McCarthy, so it was just kind of a thinly veiled stab at what was actually going on. And this is always going to be a straight up 10 for me. It is in my top favorite movies of all time because it's incredibly scary. I have to admit, I can look at 2020. You had no idea what was going on. 2020 is a science fiction film, and somehow we all managed to survive it. But I've always had a deep fondness for this movie, and I was so obsessed with watching it because my mother didn't want me to watch it. And
was it the full Bush of the PG movie? Yeah.
No, it was for her. It was the cloning of the people.
Oh yeah.
And when Pat and I were watching it, we watched it Sunday morning, and it's like he's like, what do they keep throwing out? I'm like, come on, those are the husks. And he's probably watched the movie several more times than I have, and he just realized that all the stuff that was going into the garbage trucks were the husks.
Oh, yeah, that explains why Brooke Adams' husband just brought out that one container of garbage. I guess that that was the former shell that used to be him, I guess,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, there's so many layers and so many nuances to this movie. I cannot, it's one of those movies I just can't recommend enough to people. Because it for me, it plays more horror than science fiction. Just because of just the raw emotion of realizing that the people around you are not who you think they are. So I guess I'm just going to leave it right there.
What are you giving the movie?
I give it a 10.
Okay. That's good.
It's solid. There's not a single wasted moment in the movie.
Oh, this is true. And I'll agree there. From credits to silent end credits, there is nothing wasted at all. It's all there. And one scene I forgot to mention before the big reveal at the end happens is when I love when they're in the lab and everybody's just staring off into space like, yeah, we're here, we're doing our job correctly, we're doing it like, the pods do it. We're doing like the pods do. They're walking in a straight line. It kind of reminds you of, people today who are addicted to their screens, slaves to the glowing screen. These people are slaves to their alien masters, and they're just doing things all the same way. This is the TikTok dancing of the 70s horror, the 70s sci-fi scene, people. Fucking TikTok dancing.
Yeah, I know. Well, one other thing, though, I mean, when we were talking about going into the end credits, because I think after that final scene, you're basically in stunned silence. And if they had gone into some kind of music score for the credits at the end, I think it would have lessened the impact of the movie.
Oh, the impact is the impact by saying, there's no emotion left, so why shouldn't? And I imagine, you hear Amazing Grace playing, towards the end there, and I have no idea why it's playing. I think it's just like I don't know, to soothe the people that are possibly becoming pod people. I don't know, but there's no music, there's no joy, there's no emotion, so I just thought that, it's a real small thing, but it's not really a small thing. Just by subtly saying, yep, humans didn't stand a chance and they're done now. So here's no emotion, here's no music at the end of your movie. Man. Yeah, but this is a good one. Perfect. Like I said, nothing's wasted. It does get a 10. It's a perfect movie. And I think if you haven't watched it, you guys should check it out. I know a lot of folks are like, oh, I don't do science fiction movies. This has suspense that I don't know in many other movies. It's really truly terrifying. And Nimoy busting in, one of my favorite scenes of the movie where they lock him in the room and he puts his fist up against the glass and screams. It's a good look for him, man. I love it. But yeah, 10 out of 10. Go watch it as soon as possible if you haven't seen it before. So if we didn't ruin too much for you. But up next, we're going to talk about a film I called the lesser film, but I think I have just as much fun with the stupidity of this film than the one we're talking about right now. But we're going to do Tobe Hooper's Invaders from Mars, canon joined from 1986. Right after this.
David Gardner just woke up to a nightmare in his own backyard. But no one will listen.
We landed right back there, right behind the hill.
No one will believe.
I told you, he needs psychiatric help.
And soon, no one will be left.
Dad? Are you okay, Dad?
Fine.
Because something strange is happening to the people of Willow Creek.
Everything's fine now.
And David Gardner is about to find out why.
David! I'm gonna find my mom and Dad!
David Gardner?
Canon Films presents Tobe Hooper's Invaders from Mars. There's no place on Earth to hide.
Invaders from Mars from 1986. This is a remake again from another 1950s movie as well. Yeah, your basic plot of this movie. This is directed by great Tobe Hooper, of course, one of his 3 canon films, which I think are all phenomenal. A boy tries to stop aliens who have taken over his town and are attempting to brainwash its inhabitants. That boy is played by Hunter Carson, and he looks like a bootleg Robbie Wrist in this movie. He's annoying as hell, too. We'll talk about that. Great actors film, though. Karen Black's in this movie. Timothy Bottoms is dad. Lorraine Newman is mom. James Karen shows up in this movie as General Wilson. Bud Cort shows up in this movie. Louise Fletcher as his evil teacher. I think she's great. We'll talk about more of that later on. Effects by Stan Winston. And I think they still look fucking amazing. His creature effects in this film, the Martians and the big brain look awesome. And the set design too. I mean, the Martian set design looks amazing too. I love the look of who did that, but I'm gonna kick it to Suzanne first and ask her what she thinks about this movie.
Yeah, this one for me, it looks like a 50s comic book. I love the way the movie looks. I'll say once again, I actually did not get around to watching the original of this. I haven't watched it in more years than I care to mention, which means I'm going to have to go back and give it a rewatch. But I mean, this is basically candy. It's not the greatest movie on the planet, but damn it, it's fun. I love the actors in this movie, and Louise Fletcher is just such an evil bitch. Oh my God, she's so good as being the evil witch in this movie. I mean, you've got a pretty decent range of actors, and as always, I'm always happy to see Bud Cort. I remember watching this little segment. They wanted him when they were doing the documentary Pumping Iron. They wanted, I guess, for lack of a better term, a pipsqueak to come in and have these big, ginormous men teach him how to lift and build up a little body mass, but he was afraid that his presence was going to screw up the movie, so he told him to keep, because he was only doing it for scale, to keep the money and just cut him out. So that's just random go off there. Apparently, I'm getting very, very tired and finding brand new tangents to go off on. I like this movie. I like Tobe Hooper. But when I watched this movie, he did another one that basically, I have to admit, this movie has a very specific color palette to it. It's reds, it's reds, blacks, and blues. And he did another movie called Spontaneous Combustion. And I have to admit, putting the two side by side, they just seem like almost the same movie. But, one is atomic testing, and this one is, well, Invaders from Mars. I mean, the monster work is good. I mean, you can't take anything away from Stan Winston. The creatures are great. But for me, I do enjoy the movie, but it's just not one that I go back to very often. I don't. The kid that they picked out just completely is so annoying that he kind of ruins the movie for me.
See, my problem with the kid is the same reason I have a problem with Eddie Furlong. They could have picked that kid that was either just before puberty or just over puberty, not in the middle there, where his voice is breaking like Bob, was it Peter Brady? Yeah. There's a time to change. That kid's voice is breaking throughout the whole fucking movie, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, from the first time I saw this movie to the last time I watched it 2 days ago, I don't like the kid. The kid kind of ruins the movie for me. He takes me out. Karen Black is fun. I like the evil little girl. What was her name? Norma?
I think so.
Heather.
Oh,
Heather. Wow, how the fuck did I come up with Norma?
She looks like a Norma. She got that going for her too,
And for me, the movie just, although the sets are amazing, the whole movie just seems kind of forced to me. Everyone, I mean, Lorraine Newman, it's just like even before they get taken over by Martians, everyone is just kind of pushing and forcing everything along so hard that I just don't enjoy it. It's pretty. It's a pretty movie to look at. You've got great character actors in this movie. But it just seems like at certain points they all seem to be fighting against each other. So yeah, Monsters, awesome. Great cast, not working well together. I hate the kid, but the monsters and the set are cool. I don't know. I think the less I say about this movie, the better I'm going to be.
No, you're okay. Iris, tell us what you think about it.
Okay, so I got to see both of these movies in the movie theater, and this particular one, like Suzanne was saying, because I was going to say the same thing, it's a comic book. You're watching a live action comic book, and to me, because you're watching this live action comic book, comic books back when I was, in the second, third grade, especially the sci-fi ones, were exactly like this. You had that one kid who was a smart aleck, annoying, but he knew the truth. And that's what made him so fucking annoying. And then you have this character arc of this kid going from, just having such a wonderful time with his parents to literally overnight, his dad changes. And then, mom's kind of like, you're all right, because you're kind of weird. And then mom changes, and he's just trying to deal with the fact that, people are changing. But this movie in itself, though, is lots and lots of fun, like you were saying. I mean, one of my favorite character is General Wilson. James Karen, because it's great. David Gardner's son, bring him in here. I mean, because this kid has clout, right? And then as they walk into his office, what picture do you see right behind him? My God, Chesty Puller. Good night wherever you are, sir. That's the Marine's Marine. Huge picture of the guy, right there. And just how he deals with his Marines and everything, very much comic book 1950s general, right? And just how things get changed. And all the little Easter eggs in this movie. Like when they show the mailbox for the Gardners, it says Santa Mira. Okay, so here's our tie to Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
God. Nice.
Right? Oh my God.
That's what I was talking to you about last night. And then, of course, when they're searching for David and the nurse down there, what was her name? Linda. There is the original head, the original thing over the intelligence in the first movie is sitting right there. So they flash it as they're looking for them. I was like, oh, look, there it is. And of course, the only reason why I really saw it was because I had just seen the original 1953 Invaders from Mars. So, and just the way the monsters are great, the color palette, like you were mentioning, really, really all tied in. Because back in the 50s, they had, certain colors that they could print. So it was just amazing to rewatch this because I had not seen this in a very long time. And it just reminded me how much I just love this movie. And just how entertaining it is just to watch something because, here you have this movie that's been remade, but it's been remade in a very retro way. So I think that's what really, even now, I think I enjoy it more because I understand that a little more, being more, God, I hate saying that, but a seasoned movie goer or watcher than, back in 1986 when I was 17, I think. So, yeah, this movie's always been one of my favorites. And I don't know, I can't say enough about it. That's pretty much it.
One thing you got to realize, about Tobe Hooper and Mick Garris and Joe Dante, you hear them talk with each other, like in interviews and stuff. They're all fucking monster kids from back in the day. So they all saw these movies as children, so it's all embedded in their brain of the stuff they love. You could tell that a lot of love and care went into this movie. Cocaine aside, Mr. Tobe Hooper.
And you know what, though? What? Here's another thing that I forgot to say. Louise Fletcher in this reminds me of Mrs. Crabtree that never got married and just kept teaching.
Oh, yeah.
And she just became this horrible, awful woman.
Yeah, it's horrible. But yeah, but you can tell a lot of love and care when the set designs, the guy that did the set designs, I forget, Leslie something, he worked on like Star Wars and The Abyss and Indiana Jones. So he worked a lot of production design stuff for big movies, and movies like this, I don't dig much of like the sets. When you get to like the Martian underground, the sets are beautiful, and they're kind of dark, but they're stroby at the same time. But when the creatures show up, I mean, I've seen this on Blu-ray, and you usually like old movies, you can see like the little imperfections and stuff. There's no imperfections in these creatures. They walk around, they look fluid. They're laughing. They got big teeth and gross looking, and but yeah, they look amazing, and that's really takes you back to this film. Like, look how fucking good these creatures still look today, because a lot of them aren't going to look as good. If you watch another Stan Winston vehicle, Pumpkinhead, there's a reason why they only shot Pumpkinhead certain ways. Because it was like a 7-foot-tall puppet that didn't move very well. You know, so if anything, I think Pumpkinhead is one of the sloppier works. It looks really great on film because that's the way they shot it. But these creatures are on full display. I can appreciate that. David Gardner, that boy, you need the boy that cried wolf in this movie. Although he's crying wolf all over the place, and really stuff's really going on with alien invasions and whatnot, but he is easily the worst part about this film. But without the boy, you wouldn't have a movie. You know, this boy telling wild stories about aliens. His parents aren't what they used to be, and eating disgusting looking bacon, just pouring salt on it. Oh my God. You ought to make me sick. Just really watch that scene again. Of Lorraine Newman eating that burnt ass bacon, just pouring that salt all over it. Like, oh God, who would do that to bacon? It's terrible. Come on now, you know. What else? Louise Fletcher. I wrote her a letter once because I wanted some stuff autographed, and she signed stuff through the mail. And one thing I mentioned was this movie, because there's a scene where little David Gardner walks in the classroom and it's all dark and quiet, and he goes to go look for her because he suspects that she's something else. And she's eating this frog in this movie. And as a child, it freaked me the fuck out, man. And you know, it's still kind of scary today, her eating this frog. Although it's clearly fake frog, but you know what? Her slurping it and that green slime all over her mouth. Like, ugh.
That was so awesome.
Oh, so nasty. It has scared the shit out of me as a child. They're eating this frog. Just him walking in the room, you know, she turns around, there's this frog just hanging out of her mouth. I was like, what's she doing with this frog? Oh, she's eating that frog. I see what you're doing there, you know. I think it's been a long time since I watched it. You watched it, Iris. Copper had a big play in the aliens. This is why they wanted to harvest the copper for their weapons, right?
Yep.
Yes, that was a throwback too. Their laser eye cannons, which look janky as shit, but all the budget went to Stan Winston's creature effects, you know.
And did you notice that the police chief is David McLean in the 1953 movie?
Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't watched it recently.
I think I did myself a huge disservice by not watching the original first.
Well, you're good. There's a lot of comparisons, you know.
Yeah,
because I haven't watched it. I can't even count how many years.
And did you notice that Tobe Hooper's Life Force movie was also playing on the TV? That's what David was watching.
Yes.
Yep, I did.
That's a movie I'd love to cover one day because I covered a long time ago. But it's one of those episodes that got lost. But that's a film that has no plot. It's just a naked woman walking through the movie, and then you have like aliens.
It's a space vampire naked people.
It starts that way.
Exactly.
But then it turns into something else that I cannot explain. But you know, that movie's got two halves. I don't know why. I guess that was the cocaine fueled film that he made. You know, I guess it broke the budget, but you made 2.5 good films out of that mess. It's good stuff. But I have a lot of stupid fun with this one. I love the retro sci-fi stuff. Like I said, all those guys are monster kids, so it reflects in their movies. And Tobe Hooper wanted to make a big dumb monster movie, and he did, and with a lot of colorful characters. And James Cameron, you mentioned, he's just like, he's aware that something is going on, but he's unsure. So let's listen to this kid's story because you're going to.
Right,
and
it's awesome.
When he finds out, he's going to spring into action and bring the whole goddamn army with him. I love it. You know,
Marines.
I'm sorry. Brings the whole Northern Marines with him. Like, let's go underground in this fucking crazy place we know nothing about. We're going to kill some fucking aliens. You know, it's fucking crazy. But,
Rinaldi, not you.
So good. He puts his whole soul into it, man. I missed that. I had to meet him one time, and he was just like a joy to talk to, James Cameron. But yeah, this is just a fun sci-fi action movie with a kid character you can dismiss and still enjoy the movie. I can't say the same thing about T2. I'm sorry. As a kid, I had a lot of fun watching it. Like, wow, this kid's riding a motorcycle. It's really cool. So you watch it as a grown-up, and I'm talking to you people out there that love that movie. Watch it as a grown-up, and just notice how much that kid takes you out of the movie. It's plentiful, okay? Should have bumped that fucking kid off way before that new movie, man. Fuck John Connor, leader of the revolution. Oh my gosh. Terminator's aside, John Connor aside, I did and once had fun with this movie, and I still do. And I'm gonna kick it back to Suzanne and ask her anything else you want to say about the movie, and what does she give 1 to 10?
Oh God, I know I'm probably being incredibly harsh on it. I really wish I'd had a little extra time to go watch the original before I watched this one, like I did with Body Snatchers. But like I said, he did a better comic booky movie, Tobe Hooper. It was called Spontaneous Combustion. Very few people have heard of it. I enjoy it. But this one, like I said, I think at the time I saw it the first time, it was 1986. I was 14. At this point, I was on to A Nightmare on Elm Street, and it just came off as a little, I don't know, I have to admit I enjoy it more now than I did when I first saw it. I can't shit talk it. It just, for me, it just seemed like there were so many different bits playing against each other that it just doesn't work as well for me. And I know, going in the comic booky vein, of course this kid's going to have carte blanche with a freaking general at a NASA site. Of course the kid's getting in without having like 87 guns pointed at him and Linda.
Well, he mentioned that he talked to the general like the day before or something. So it's not like they didn't know each other.
The day before, like the general's going to remember David Gardner, even though they shoved David Gardner's name down our throat 100 times. But I don't want to trash the movie, because there's parts of it I like. It's a beautiful movie to look at. It is straight up a 1950s, a Technicolor comic book. The creatures are awesome. Stan Winston, above reproach as always. So I feel like I'm going to rate it lower here, and I will probably amend this after I go and watch the original and this one again, but I'm pretty much at a 6.
Okay. Iris.
Okay, so I'm going to give this one a 9. Because this is exactly the kind of fun movies I love. I don't blame you in the slightest. I was also, a sci-fi monster kid. I grew up watching these movies, and when I saw this in the movie theater, it put me right back in front of the TV black and white movies. Or, looking at the old comic books that I would find at the library. It was just great. And another thing I forgot to mention, at the end, when David realizes that it's all a dream. Oops, spoilers. Lorraine Newman drops into her Conehead character. We are no aliens. I was like, it was cracking up. Much. Yep.
Oh God, yeah, that was great.
So yeah, this movie is. I'm glad I got to see it again, because I can't wait to sit down with the little man and watch this movie, because I know he's going to love it too.
Well, he'll dig it, yeah.
So yeah, 9 for this one.
I didn't mention, I saw on the IMDb facts that the boy, Hunter Carson, is the actual son of Karen Black. So they were
what?
Mother and son playing the movie. Yeah, he said in the credits there. And another thing about the drone aliens, as they call them, they used 2 in the movie, so they had a whole bunch of them. But they were ran by like puppets. They had somebody in the front and somebody in the back running that thing. So I thought that was a pretty cool aspect. They were actual puppets, with people inside. I love that.
That's incredible. That is.
I love
amazing.
that. Yeah, and that's about it, man. I love the film though, and I think it's genuinely. There's enough horror elements of sci-fi elements, but there's enough to laugh at too, because it's just silly, and I want to like scream at the top of my lungs when my cousin's kids got a line and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and see what they do. I do it in the Louise Fletcher voice though, because she had a streak, didn't she? You know, she just playing like mean people. I love it. Yeah, I heard she's a very lovely person though. You had a good old Nurse Ratched. You had the grandmother in the original Flowers of the Attic movie, which which is where I found she was the most terrifying for me. Was when I watched that movie, like, wow, she poisoned them children. It's fucking terrible. You know? She's a fucking terrible person. If I met her in person, I'd probably start freaking out. But I felt that way about many people. Like, yeah, not really. Angus Scrimm, you know, a big imposing dude, you know, gonna take over the world. But Angus Scrimm as a person, he's a hell of a nice guy. He's no longer with us, but he's a nice guy. Yeah, it's an 8 at least. I had just as much fun with this film every time I watch it. And it's got a fuck you ending. You gotta love that. By the way, starting all over again, kid. It's good stuff. But I guess I think those crazy Israelis did not enjoy the film as much as we did. They felt that Tobe Hooper misled them in the direction he was going. But yeah, I like it. So fools aside, it's good shit. 8 out of 10 for me. And that's it for this one. We'll come right back and close out the show. Folks, there's another one of the books. I'm hoping to get these out more consistently. I had some problems last week, so the releases might be in a good cluster just to come out like that. But this has been a fun one. Iris, I'm sure you have stuff that's come out or coming up. Let us know what that is.
Yes, so we just dropped the coffee for Badasses, Boobs, and Body Counts, and you can find that on exploitationfilm.com. Oh my God, you get to see, Pam Grier's boobs and wonderful bodies so much in that. And we plan to do Earthquake as our next one. And then I think not this Sunday, but next Sunday, with Theme Warriors, we have films where the actors play more than one character. So, of course, the original Coming to America is on there, a couple of other movies, and I will be doing Legends with Tom Hardy playing the Krays.
Nice.
So that's going to be fun. Oh, God, I love that movie. So, yeah, and then that's pretty much it for me, besides being on here.
Anybody pick Suspiria remake?
No.
Suzanne loves that movie. I know she does. Yeah.
Gary, you just like seeing me suffer, don't you?
I like the movie. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll kick it to Suzanne. She can tell us what she has coming out.
Okay, and coming out very, very soon, we did. Oh my God, got this! Yet another remake. We did the Poltergeist remake on the NFW podcast. That's on Dark Discussions. And recording tomorrow, we are finally getting around to doing our best worst of 2020, because apparently we were real late.
You're not the only cast that does that, though. It does it real late, though. It just happens.
Well, a lot of us watched so few movies. I ended up trying to cram in. I watched 15 movies in 3 days. My head hurts still.
But it does.
But I managed to come up with a top and a bottom.
Those are both very important roles, by the way, the top and the bottom.
Well, I know. Hubs and I take turns.
Okay, gotcha.
All right.
Oh, yeah, this show, anything that I do, Two Drink Venom should have an episode up by now. We did the Boogans. Myself, Nudie, Kyle Poling, and Cameron Scott are the MCs on that particular episode. I'm going to try to switch it up every episode. Not sure what the next one's going to be, but the Boogans, we had a lot of fun with a really bad movie where you saw like one Boogan towards the end there, and it just was some conversations about some Canadian horror that people love that we are kind of sour on, but look for that if you haven't found it already. I'll link the movie because it's in full on YouTube. You can watch along with us. It could be a lot of fun for you. Yeah, Legion Patreon, Legion GoFundMe, lots of good stuff on Legion Patreon. I think they drop some commentaries on there. Bo has an exclusive stuff going on with Richard Schmidt on there, where they're doing the I series for Hero Hero Go show. Tons of fun stuff on Legion Patreon. As low as $3 a month, you can go donate. $5 a month, you get to come on commentaries and stuff. I think is how it works. You get to watch a screener or two along with the rest of the group. So, yeah, help out starving artists with the Legion Patreon. Don't send me money. Send Uncle Bo money. He needs it, okay, for running the show the way he is. Come check us out on all your podcasting networks. From what I understand, we just got added to Pandora as well, so you can find us on many, many outlets. And thanks to Jerry Herring for dumping all of our stuff on YouTube. So go check us out on YouTube as well and become a subscriber. That's enough Legion pushing for right now, but you guys should all go check out all the great shows on Legion and the Exploitation Filmcast and on the Dark Discussions Network, all the stuff that Nudie and those guys do over there. I've not been there present over there, but I'm trying to get there. But yeah, that's it for this one. To hold my breath. That was a long